How's lunch? Good?
Fresh, mate.
Fresh?
Yeah, very loud.
Inside voice. It's alright. No, beautiful. Alright guys, we're going to rock into this afternoon session, which is about tracking and measuring your success. As I said, tomorrow we will have Greg really going deep on like the P&L numbers side of things from that perspective. But today I want to talk to you guys about sales, marketing, some things you might know already, some things you might not, but keep what you like, leave what you don't, so you get some value out of this. But this is going to be relatively interactive. So after this, we'll have time for implementation, where you guys can go in, look at your numbers, assess it, look at what's going on, pull that stuff apart. So if you've got any questions as we go, just yell out as we go, rather than like waiting or holding things in. Make sense? Cool. Let's do it. This guy, Peter Drucker, legend in the world of management. What gets measured gets managed. Just so I know, who accurately tracks their sales and marketing very, very, very well? Because if you say yes, I'm going to call on you to answer questions as we go. No, everyone's got room for improvement? Cool. Sweet. The first thing you need to do is, what does success look like? So whether it be marketing or sales, who here knows what their exact goal is for their business? 100K month. 60% margins. Cool. How many clients do you need to have that? Cool. Good to know the end. Right? We want to know a few other things. What else has that?
Probably for me, we're looking at retention.
Retention?
Retention of members.
Yep. What percentage retention do you want?
Probably 92%. So
Right.
less than 95, more than 90%.
Why? What happens at 95? Why at 92?
Close to 100, I guess. So over 90%.
Over 90%. Cool. So do you know what that means, like from a perspective for you, how many members maximum you can lose per month?
No.
It's hypothetical. Cool. Well, that's what it's like, because if we want to do this, we want to get specific on all aspects, because then it's going to make it easier to track everything.
Yeah.
Anyone else who's got any specifics around their business? No? Cool. So there's a method which I really like to teach. There's a triple C method taught by one of my mentors, Mick Peterson, which is, for you to be able to have anything, you first need to have clarity, is the first C. Clarity over the outcome that you want to achieve. Right, so Connor, we can all agree, right, has clarity over what he wants to achieve. But he does not have certainty in the way he's going to get there. So if we use that as an example, if you don't mind, Connor. Yeah, sure. Clarity. 100K month, 60% margin. But then the next part is like question mark. And the next one is question mark. Ideally what we want to have is know exactly what's going to happen and how we're going to get there. So once we have clarity over the goal, then we want to have certainty over what we need to have happen to get there. Then we can go about lastly, which is collapsing time. How do we speed up? How do we get to our goal faster? If it is in alignment with our actual goal. Then it makes it very easy when you're making business decisions. Your decisions are based on, is it still feeding into my original clarity? Right? So if someone basically came to speed up Connor getting to his goal and said, Connor, why don't you start adding on the service? It's real expensive, the cost is real high, but your clients benefit from it. If it goes away from the clarity he has over that 60% margin, the answer's got to be no. If he's looking at bringing on new team members, it doesn't feed into that original amount. Can he get more out of what he already has, or does he have to bring on more team members? If he brings on another team member, does that open up the capacity for him to get closer to his goal? Yeah or nay? That's how you can then start to make decisions in your business without having to know everything down to the minutiae. But you go, is it feeding back into my original goal? Because if I have certainty in how I'm going to get there again, if someone comes to Connor with a new, fantastic way, which is like, Connor, we're going to put your logo on every golf ball at Wembley Golf Course, right? It's going to be a great marketing effort for you, but we already have certainty over how it's going to get there. Is it going to get there so they're any faster? No. The answer is no. We don't do that. But what do most people do when they have a goal, a big ambitious goal, like 100K a month with 60% margin, what do they try and do? Yeah, class time. They try and go real fast. Like, we're going to do all these things all at once without really any thought about it and just go. Right? Money loves speed apparently, right? I'll go real fast. but that's not actually going to give you the right outcome. So then it allows you to make decisions based on, will this get me to my goal faster without impacting the original goal? Right? But if you don't know what success looks like for you, this next session is going to be a little bit hard, because you've got to figure out, based on what you want to achieve, how you're going to step those things back. Many people talked about in their goals like growing their business or team or understanding the right strategies, but if we don't have this, all of those things are kind of superfluous. Like my mentor always told me a story. He's like, one of these clients was like, cool, my goal is to be able to make enough money so I can spend more time with my wife and kids. In doing so, he worked every night till 9 p.m., worked hard, his job was an hour away, so he spent 2 hours every day driving to get there. In doing so, what did he do? Spend less time with his wife and kids. So if you know what your actual overall goal is, it's very easy to determine the factor of what you actually need to do. Because is there a reason why you have that specific number in mind? Apart from the fact that it's like 100K a month and it's 1.2 mil a year, like.
Yeah, I mean, it's a number of factors. I think it's something that feels uncomfortable but doesn't feel unrealistic. Yeah, that makes sense.
Was there any other reason apart from that?
The lifestyle that we're doing with family.
Have you calculated the lifestyle and security that you need?
What I need versus what I want.
Yeah. Have you done both?
Well, I know what I need, but I don't know what I necessarily want.
Yeah.
So just
how rough is your lifestyle now versus where you want it to be?
it's not hugely different. Just a bit more, I guess, more travel.
Yeah. And so, like, when you travel, do you want to travel in economy or business class? Business class. Cool. How many people in your family? Four. So you need 4 business class tickets wherever you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you know how much a business class ticket is?
Yeah, depending on where you go.
Yeah. Like, where's the place you want to go?
UK to see my family.
Yeah. Cool. How much is a business class ticket?
So, $7 grand each.
Yeah. So 28K.
Yeah.
How much more money do you need to bring in to be able to afford to have 28K extra out of the business after tax, etc.? I'm looking on you. Like,
No,
yeah,
it's illustrated.
The reason why, sorry, Claire, can you chuck me my water from up there, please? The reason why I ask is that the more specifics that we can get, the easier it becomes, because it might not be 100K at 60% margin. It might only be 60. And if you could have 60K a month at 60% margin and still achieve all the things you want to do, would that be okay?
No, something in me that looks more than I don't know what it is.
Well, it's good to get clear on that, right? Because it's like, if you want more for the sake of more, that's cool, but maybe try and scratch that itch outside of your business.
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of people go in and they bring in all of their external things into their business, and that causes frustrations, that causes overwhelms, that causes stress, all the things that we don't want, because they bring out all these extra things that they really want outside of business. So if you look at like hierarchy of needs and Tony Robbins and Maslow and things like that, right? People want variety, but they also want to have security, right? People want to have spontaneity, but they also want to have a routine. So it's like in business, ideally, you want to try and make it as boring as possible, right? Most people are like, oh, this is it's like, no. You want it to be relatively boring. Still fun to do and you like what you want to do, but if it ticks all those things, then you go, cool, if my desire is for something more, how can I tap into that maybe outside of business? Because if I can hit all of the goals that I want to have, all you're going to do is put stress and pressure on the system, and there's no reason why. That's like, I want to have a fire hose instead of a garden hose. Why? So I just want more. I don't really know why, but I want. It's like that just puts stress and pressure on the whole system. So the more you guys can dive in and go, cool, I want to have this because of this. And again, lifestyle and all that sort of stuff is perfect, absolutely. Like, shoot for that. But actually figure it out, because a lot of times things are closer than what you actually think they are. Like, oh yeah, I want to have $1 million business. Like, well, you can probably hit all of your goals with readjusting some of the products or services you have at the right margin, and maybe like 70K a year. So 70K a month or 60K a month, and it'll be happy days. So that's why when I go for these numbers, like I can show you guys how to tweak and adjust anything in sales and marketing to hit goals, but if we don't know why, we're just going to yo-yo, we go back and forth. Because you hit 100K a month, but if we don't know what that means, next month it might only be 60K. It might hit it again, and then it might be 40K. But it might bounce around like that because we're not like tied into the overall vision of what we want to have. And it's kind of hard as well if you're trying to explain to your team, it's like, you want 100K a month. It's like, why? Because I want it. Like, it's hard to get extra kind of why, as you like heard, like with, like Damien, his goals are, well, every day I'm getting up and doing is going to go to the Olympics. Like, it's for something. And it's cool if you don't know right now. But if you can figure out all of the things, you go, great, this is what I need to hit my first goal. I want this amount per month, this coming through, this structure, this setup. That gets me and my family taken care of. We can go business class anywhere we want at any point in time. Then you can address and look at what the next thing is. Because once you have it, it's very easy to see. Was it just to get there? It's like, now I just want to push for the sake of pushing. Awesome. Then you like almost restructure this whole process to look at what the next level looks like. That's what you add. You gamify a bit more for yourself and push through those patterns. Make sense? Yeah. Make sense for everyone? Awesome. So if you don't know it, I highly recommend having a little bit of think tonight, especially over the next couple of days. Like, think about and have clarity about what it is that you want and why. If it is lifestyle or dollars or whatever it might be, revenue, why do you want that revenue specifically? And then go, great. If I had that, could I actually do all the things I want to do? Because, like, for example, for Connor, arguably some of the stuff I think I'm talking about on Friday, I could get you business class travel without you having to pay anything. You could pay $750 a person and get a business class flight. If you know how to point hack, right? So it's like there's many different ways to skin a cat. Same as for me, like when I first ever wanted to get a car, I used to watch Ballers with Dwayne Johnson. And he had a white Range Rover. It was one of his first cars, and I was like, I want a white Range Rover. At the time, I couldn't really justify paying for the white Range Rover. I was like, it's very expensive. So I knew what my goal was, which was to get a car. And I was like, what other ways could I get a car? I was like, what if someone wanted marketing help from me, or business help from me, and then they gave me a car? Would that work? So yeah, I did. And I got 2 Range Rovers. Not like at the same time, but I had a Range Rover, then I got another one. So I did a deal with a Toyota dealership, had a Toyota, done it quite a few times, and that allowed me to actually be able to get what I wanted, but I didn't necessarily have to pay for it. So I had certainty over the outcome, and then the way to speed it up was like, yes, I can save, put money into that, write it off as a tax deduction, but have all these expenses, blah, blah, or I can just like see how I can get one without me exchanging anything for it. See how that works. And it works very well. So if you guys, highly recommend doing that, figuring it out, looking at all the things and goes, cool, what do I actually want to need? And then it'll help with the path going forward. So, most people, when I talk about defining success and we're looking at tracking and measuring these things, they think they want a cool, sexy dashboard like this. It's like, cool, I'm making all this money, here's what's going on here, these are the products, this is what's happening, all the things that are happening. But again, if we don't know how to properly track the inputs, we're not going to have anything that looks anything remotely like this. Yeah, manage your business, bless you. So for a lot of people, it's like, cool, I want to track things, I want to have a good dashboard, I want to have all this stuff showing, but if we don't know what we're going to put into it, or why we need to get it there, how we're going to track and measure it, it's never going to work. So your definition, your tracking is not going to look like this for a little while until we get all those things going in. So what we first want to do is look at from a sales and a marketing perspective, is traffic lights. And same for your business, whether it be revenue or anything like that. So, why do you think that happens for traffic light? 3 seconds, yeah. I'm very simple guy. It's not overly complicated. It's not like a Taylor Swift, you have to try and analyze what's going on in my presentation. It's like, I'm simple. Red, orange, green. Right? What do you think green equals? Green equals orange? Not so good. Semi-good. Red? So, what we want to have is 4 sales numbers, might be revenue numbers. You want to have like a green, orange, and red light system. First and foremost, to start off with, we start with the bigger things and then we can kind of like refine our way down. But if we know what's good from a sales perspective, from a lead generation perspective, what's semi-good and what's crap, then we can at least know going forward what we want to do, what we want to focus on. Right? Does anyone here? No, I don't know. Does anyone here know what they are willing to spend to acquire a customer? To a specific dollar. Steve?
About 2,000.
That's okay. So that might be green for Steve. What would be orange? Like, what would be like, oh, that's okay, but not the best.
Probably 3.
3. And then what would be red?
More than, yeah, like 4.
Now, I'm not going to necessarily get everyone to yell out what theirs are. If you know what it is for you, cool. If you don't know, things you want to take into consideration, obviously the cost of delivery, how long the client stays with you for, how long you're happy to absorb it, because some people as well, you might be willing to spend more on the front end if you're relatively cash flow positive, because you know that a client's going to be with you for a longer period of time. So you might be willing to, like if you have a recurring membership or anything like that, you might be like, cool, I'm willing to spend what they pay me for the first month, because I know month 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is going to bring me in the money. First month if I don't make anything, that's okay. Or if you've got a physical product or service and you're like, cool, I need to make X off of that, then you can at least figure out what are you willing to spend to acquire them at that level. Then from there we can step forward and go, okay, great. We can work down from there. Once we know what these numbers are from green, orange, and red, then we can go, great, Steve, if we're willing to spend that, right? My next question to you, if I gave you 10 people, and they're all semi-interested in what you do, maybe they've inquired on Facebook, how many of them would you need to speak to before one person became a client?
So you gave me 10. I mean, that speaks over 10K.
Yeah.
And then do a 1 hour longer session, probably 5 of them. Should probably get 1 or 2.
Yeah. So 10, 5, let's just use 1 as an example, let's say that's going to happen. Right? So then for Steve, for a inquiry, let's call it Facebook otherwise, quick math, how much is he willing to spend? That would be green. 200. Yeah? $200. Orange, 300. Red, 400. Right? So he's willing to spend that amount. But now again, like especially when we talk about Facebook and we look at social media platforms and things like that, this might be based on people that might be like a little bit more qualified in like our whole lead generation pool. But let's just say that we said, okay, cool, because spending $200 a lead sounds cruisy for Steve. But we might go, actually, that number might actually double if we were doing lead generation, because some people we can't get a hold of, because if that's assuming you speak to all 10 people, right? Some we can't get a hold of, some will call us back later, some are a bit too early, some want to come back later, blah, blah, blah. All the excuses that people have about not doing stuff, right? So if we need to double that, means that we would need at least 20, which means that Steve could spend up to $100 to be able to get and acquire a lead, someone interested in his business, which would then equate to 10 people that are actually interested, 5 people that he has a long conversation with, and he converts one. Do the same thing. So same math along here, same math along here. So that Steve can figure out, okay, like on the top end, like if I spend less than $100 to get an inquiry, I'm good. Right? If it goes, this will probably be about 150, and this will probably be about 200. So if we look at it from that perspective, for Steve, they're his red, orange, and green light metrics. So he's looking at growing his business. They're the only things that he really needs to focus on when it comes to the overarching numbers. Because we're going to go a little bit micro in detail as well. But this is how you manage it from like a macro perspective of looking at it from the whole thing. So basically, as long as he pays less than that, really, over here, he's got, doesn't have to really worry about anything. Because a lot of people, when they're looking at the marketing and the sales in their business, they're like, oh, but I have to be like on it all the time. If your processes are working, you don't have to be on it. Matchy is one of our amazing clients. What do I say? Like the least contactable of all of our clients. Which is great for both of us, because we just do our job. Matchy gets leads every day that are in the same bracket. Her costs don't really ever go up. They pretty much sit in the right level. We ask her for new photos, she doesn't respond. That's cool. But for her, it works because everything is within the metric. So again, is it worth Matchy's time coming in and having a meeting with us, jumping on a Zoom call with us, or trying to record new content for her clients every month? Yes. Right? Well, the actual answer is no. There's other areas of optimization in her business that works. Her numbers are in like Because if it was a problem, Match will be on the phone with us like every day, being like, I need to bring costs down, or I need to get more leads, or whatever it might be. And we can still probably increase our leads and keep the cost relatively the same. But like, I don't do this to point Match out, but I do it to be like, well, because she can now spend other time on her business in other areas. If you get the marketing part working and it's within these, same for Steve. I'm going to hazard a guess that Steve's getting leads less than $100. Yeah, your leads kill it, right? They come in the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're not very qualified, and
Yeah. So again, even like, I mean, if they come in at $8, we can have 10 times the amount and still get $8, right? So it's like they might not be super qualified, but we still can build a decent database. Or we could try and add in, Steve could add 10 times the qualification, get 10 times less volume, and he'd still be in the metric that would make it okay for him from a sales perspective. So then it just dictates to you what areas you need to focus on, rather than just, well, I actually always need more leads. I always need to focus on marketing, I need to focus on sales. So, well, cool, if one area is good, maybe you do need to focus on just retention. Maybe you do need to step into a different area. Or again, if all of that's working, right, I was liking it to, I'm real bad at it. So this is a table. Right? Table with 4 legs. Matchy's got her ads working. Right? If I was talking to Matchy and she's like, I want to get more inquiry and things like that, I'd be like, cool, we have one strategy down pat. We don't really need to worry about it. But what we can look at is like JVs, referrals, like potentially maybe even like some sort of affiliate structure. So then per time, again, because we're already on track, we're working towards the goal, maybe we need to tweak some things, but then it can be focused on other areas that would fall under the marketing and sales and development. Right? Or it might be training someone up to deal with all the inquiries that don't automatically go through. But we're not just focusing on one key area because we can break down and we can understand, see, like generally we're in the right vicinity. Now we just need to move on to other areas. Make sense for everyone? So again, in the implementation session, which will come up next, I want you guys to think about your numbers. Write down, like, what is your actual overall goal? What's your green, your orange, and red? Or what do you want it to be? If you don't have it, if you're working in another business, or if you don't have it for yourself just yet, like, what do you want it to be? What do you want to focus on? And just pluck a number. If you want industry averages and stuff like that, I can give them to you guys as well, just yell out. Does that make sense for everyone? Yep. Alright, so now we're going to go into some of the specifics for ads, right? And tracking success there. So again, some people might have what their cost per lead they're willing to spend, but we do want to go a little bit deeper. So, if you guys are writing this down, CPC stands for cost per lead. CPM stands for cost per melee or cost per impression. CTR stands for click-through rate. CPL is cost per lead, and CPS is cost per sale. Now, all of the top 3 dictate the bottom 2. Right? So the top 3 are what impacts the bottom 2. So if you want a better cost per lead or a cost per sale, if we want a better cost per sale, first we need to get a cost per lead. Right? I will touch on the sales stuff as well in a second because that's also important to track. But if we're looking at just from what we control in one area, being marketing, marketing can dictate and adjust that cost per sale. There's also stuff we can do with the sales process that can do that too. So cost per click, let me just see if I've got it. Yeah, I do. Cool. So you guys have got them all down? Now I'll talk about like what we should be looking for each of them and how we can influence them as well from a paid advertising perspective. We can't really dictate anything from an organic perspective, but from a paid advertising perspective, we can break it all down. Does anyone not know what all these are, by the way? Show hands? No? All ad gurus? Cool. You guys good? Yeah.
What's the milli one? Milli?
Cost per impression and cost per melee. So that's the actual like metric on how advertising is measured. Because I can't tell you how many people I've had run ads on Facebook and they're like bidding for conversions or leads, and they're like, Facebook charged my card, but I haven't got any leads. Like I'm bidding for leads. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work like that. Right? You can't just have free ads until someone hops in. So the impression is how people are impressed upon. If you're looking at it, if you're scrolling, if you scroll past something, that's an impression. It is an impression on an individual user. So that cost is what dictates how many people see your stuff, click on your stuff, opt into your stuff. They all are interworked, but that's also the metric. If you're looking at billboards, TV, radio, paid advertising is all measured from that perspective. If we know how to influence it, we can improve upon it and make it better. Now we're going to talk about numbers from a sales perspective. Who here sells via like either like maybe direct messaging with someone or like a phone conversation with someone? Anyone sell just like straight off of a web page or something like that? Cool, a few people. So we're going to talk about that. So we can look at we'll look at I'll call it like no contact versus the contact side of things. So in the sales process, let's just use a phone call as an example if you're going to call a lead or inquiry. What are metrics or what are parts of that conversation? What are the parts of that process? We first have the lead, right? It's meant to be interactive, that's why I just talk about it. If you have a lead, what happens?
Start a chat.
Yeah, so we will call.
Establish the needs.
Yeah, but first they have to answer, right? So we have to have the call and it has to be answered. So if the call can be answered, it can also be what? Yeah, it could be unanswered. Reject. They're just like, oh, reject. Cool. And if they answer, what can happen there? Qualify. Yeah, we can qualify, we can have an actual, like a further conversation with them, where we go through their needs and all that sort of stuff. Or what else could happen? Appointment. Yeah, you could actually get a booking. What else could happen?
Well, they say, I was just walking into a meeting.
Yeah.
Not qualified?
Yeah.
Unqualified?
Yeah. So if we also have a conversation, we can have they can find out that they're qualified, we can find out that they're unqualified, we can find out what else. They're not interested, we can find out that it's not right now. Right? And so if we get a booking, what happens next?
Onboarding?
Yeah, so it could be like, we have it like, let's call it like this actual sales session, whether that be in person or on the phone. What happens from that?
Onboarding.
Yeah, we either get a yay or a nay. Or we could also have a similar to above, not right now. Or we could have DQ as well, right? Disqualify, be like, actually, you're not really good for me right now. Nay is like, you know, from them, DQ is a no from you. Not right now, is like a pipeline follow up. And if they sit back up here, they want to have a conversation back later, what happens then? We're going to follow up again. Right, so all of this is going to be the same, whether it's like, whether you're having a call, whether it be by messenger, DMs, text, however you can do it. But these are all the things that we need to know how we're going to be able to influence them. Because again, most people will be like, oh, I get leads and they buy, they don't. That's the simplest way of looking at it. But in reality, there's so many different things that can happen along here that we need to be aware of. It's like the worst thing I have when I talk with people, if I'm doing coaching or helping them out, they're like, yeah, like spoke to 10 people and not really anyone interested. I'm like, where actually do they fit in this whole thing here? Because again, if we don't have certainty and clarity over stuff, we can't impact it. Because if everyone's coming through and they're completely like unqualified, that's really good data to take back from a marketing perspective. But if they get down to here and they jump out of things, it might be a product perspective, it might be something to do with the offer. Like there's so many different nuances that we can have from this perspective that we need to understand. But if we don't know them, again, we can't have any effect. Because most people are like, yes, sales are good or bad. Yeah, I got a couple of sales, yes, sir.
Do you have a way to track that?
All this.
Like a recommended way, yeah, do you just use a spreadsheet? Yeah.
Spreadsheet's the easiest way. Like we've used before things like close.com and a couple of different sales systems. it gets real messy.
Yeah.
And the data is not necessarily 100% accurate. So every day our sales team, they will send us an end of their report where we get this data, and then Claire, Ken, and myself will jump on a call Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we'll update like our tracking from this perspective. Because again, I don't know if my ads are working or not. If I've got this, because I can be like, yeah, cool, I'm getting leads at $8 or $10 or $15. But if I don't know where everyone finishes up, because again, if it gets basically down to if my like bottleneck, if you will, that's not what I'm calling it. It's very good. If my it's a black lead with a blue, that's what you guys and your bloody games. That's why we can't have that.
This is why we can't have nice things.
That's the Taylor Swift song.
Yeah, I was going to say actually.
Now we have
Basically, it's black. Like if our issue lies here, what's the issue?
sales associations.
Yeah.
All price.
Yeah. But likely, if we get that far, if we have the initial part here, it's likely going to be sales team.
Could you do the same thing for Messenger, conversations in Messenger as well?
100%, exactly the same. So you go through all of those processes. So, because again, it's like, should I, again, if I'm putting my matchy hat on again, right? If she's getting all the way down to here, but then she's being like, I need more leads because I'm not making enough sales, now we know that's not actually the case. We should be focusing on the sales team, not that we need more leads. If the problem or better leads, again, if we have the problem up here, this is probably going to be more likely a marketing problem. This is going to be a sales problem. So we can work through and figure out how we optimize and improve all of these things. But that's the hard thing. If you go, cool, I generated 500 or 1,000 leads or 50 leads or 100 leads this month, and at the end of the day I didn't get anything. We can't just say that marketing doesn't work and ads don't work and or people don't like our business and they're not going to buy from me. We need to be able to know these things because then we can adjust and change them.
Do you have these conversations with your clients in terms of like, say you have a building client or whatever, would you have conversations with how the leads crap? Would you?
If someone actually told me that the leads were crap, I would have that conversation with them. I'd also,
He does with me.
Because I was sorry to give you an example of being like
It's either me or you. It's me or you.
yeah, because people ask me all the time, like, hey, I want to change my ad campaign, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I'm like, cool, give me this info and then we'll chat. Yeah. Because again, otherwise we're just doing something for the sake of doing it. We don't have, like, all of this data, even if it's bad, whether it's positive or negative, like, that gives you, in what they would call from a marketing perspective, a control. You have a control variable. Most people go, I want to change everything. If you change everything at the top of here without addressing anything here, we're still going to keep getting the same output at the bottom. Hence why we need to focus on all of these things, but we need to look at them individually because they're great. What is the actual bottleneck? What is the actual constraint in this? Like I'm a huge fan. There's a book called Goal, which is about the theory of constraints. It's a very long book. It's a good book. Read it. But the simplistic view, from my perspective, is like our business is like this is a garden hose. So great stuff. Garden hose is a tap. This is people coming into your business. This is money coming out of your business, right? And there's lots of kinks in the garden hose. How many kinks are stopping the water / the money from running? Four? Yeah. One. There's only one that stops the water from going at any point in time. Right? There's only one. Yes, there are four in total, but there's one that's stopping us right now. All the fitness professionals in the room would know because it's like you're working with someone who has poor mobility, not me. Maybe someone else that has bad mobility. Right? You can't change every single thing about what I do at once. When I forget and get it wrong and cause more problems, then there's going to be solutions. But if we focus on one thing and then move forward, then we can look at what the next thing is. Your business is never going to be seamlessly smooth flow, unfortunately. Shock horror. Business is going to be hard. But there's different levels of hard. You can choose your hard. Your hard could be working 9 to 5, stressing out, doing things there. It could be building a business, could be anything. So you've got to choose. Like, we're all going to have difficulties, but as well, we're also going to have great times. So if we can look at these, here we can identify which one is the one for us. That's what we're going to focus on first. Then we move on to the next one. The next one, the next one. So we figure out if it's like, cool, if we're having like I said, 50 conversions here in a month, and we're getting like a sale or 2 sales, big problem, sales thing. If we're putting in like 100 up here and only getting 10 out here, cool, we just need more leads. Well, if we don't know those things, it's very hard to figure out what we're going to do. Kind of like scale, which is the sexy word just to throw around. Let's just scale it up, let's do this, do that. So, well, no, we need to know what's the actual constraint, make sure we alleviate the constraint, unking hose, then we can go through the next step. Make sense for everyone? Now, again, the ad metrics and influencing these. So if you're ever running ads, I'm going to give you guys a few things here, but if you want any more specifics, just ask me. I can help you with any of these. CPC is cost per click. Or I'll start with CTR. Bottom one. Click-through rate. Things that affect the click-through rate from a paid ads perspective is the image/video that you would have, right? The hook, or the lead, not a lead, but like the intro, basically, to an ad. If you read an ad on Facebook, it has blah, 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 then it has like, read more. That first little section will be called the lead, or we can call it a headline, whatever you want from that perspective. And also the headline at the bottom. Facebook are really good at calling things all different things, but there's a headline that's at the bottom, which you would think would be the headline, but no, it's not. It's at the bottom, just underneath the image or the video. So if you want to get more leads, you want to have a higher click-through rate. Because if people are clicking through, more people click through, more people come out the other side. So to have a higher click-through rate, there are the things that you can change. Cost per CPM, cost per impression, basically is more so an indication of your audience or your message match to market. So your audience and your message. If I'm running ads to tradies and I'm talking about something the opposite of tradies, becoming a Swiftie, right? Probably not going to match.
My head.
Yeah, probably not going to match. Right? It's not going to match up. So my CPM is probably going to be really high. So
You'll
low
get so many
CPM.
clicks.
Yeah.
You'll get so many clicks.
So many clicks. The CPM is what dictates that if the audiences match up, if the message and market match. So if that gets really high and it's very expensive, my personal goal is to have that sub $40. If that's under $40, happy days. CTR, if you can have that 1% and above, happy days. Right? 1% CTR and $30-40 CPM would generally equate to roughly like a $20-30 lead per inquiry, give or take, quick math. Right? And then cost per click, again, probably under $3 nowadays is more accurate. If you can have a cost per click under $3, again, the cost per click is more indicative of all of them working together. The message matching the market, the audience being right and wanting what you have, and good headline and creative. So if you can have all 3 of those, again, they all work together, they all feed into each other. But again, if I just see these numbers in the ad account, I can tell you if it's working or not. I need to know what the cost per lead is. If I know these, I can generally tell you if it's going to be working or not. Because if one's super low or one's super high, that's going to tell me if it's outside of those metrics that I gave you, they're like my kind of universals, then it needs to work. If it's under those, then it's fine. And if we have all of those work, and like we're going to send all of that to, for example, a no contact page or something like that, then we look at then the next constraints. Like it's not about ads or marketing, it's like what happens next. It's our lead form, it's our website, that's the next constraint we go to from there. Make sense for everyone? Yeah? Now, a couple of bonuses, like if you want to scale and improve your success, right? If you want to improve your performance, if you want to improve the structure. Now, again, a lot of times when you're testing things, sometimes it's actually not your fault. Right? Sometimes it's actually not your fault. Facebook have basically caused an issue with or TikTok or Twitter or anything like that. I know this, I tested it. Some of my clients that spend lots and lots and lots of money have tested it. So to increase the performance, again, I'll leave that off now. But structure bonus, the page that you use. Literally the page that you use can dictate how expensive or cheap your leads are. We have a client who were running ads through their page and it was costing us $60 plus a lead. Change the page over and cut the cost per lead in half. So So I like to sometimes have like passion pages. So they're in the space of tutoring. So I created a page called the Australian Tutoring Network. My page, our branding, put it up there. Just literally change the page. Same copy and everything like that, targeting, exactly the same. Half the cost per lead. No, it's just sometimes like sometimes there's sometimes Facebook can just tarnish a page without actually telling you or you knowing about it. So very unfair. Yeah, Facebook page. Or Instagram page, same. Like I've had employees perform better. Ads, again, like if you structure your ads in the right way, like there's a difference between if you're testing something or if you're wanting to spend a lot of money on it. Like, and a lot of money, I'm talking like $200, $300, $400, $500 a day. If you want to spend that on ads, then like you need to have many more ads in ad sets, in campaigns, a lot of stuff. If you're under that amount, like under $200, you just need to have one campaign, one ad set, one ad. If you want to test another ad, add another ad set.
So, on that, could I run ads for Pilates from one of my gym accounts or run ads for my other gym from the other page?
You absolutely could. There's pros and cons to that. I would probably go with I'd go with something very specific. But Claire, do you want to stop this part of the recording? You can tell the top secret stuff if you weren't here. Stop here.